What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the September 25th, 2021 edition of Talking Smack. One quick scheduling note here. Usually these reviews go up on Sundays, but because of the Broken Skull sessions going up this week on Sunday, tomorrow morning on Peacock, that review is going up Monday. Tomorrow is my latest Dark Side of the Ring review from Vice. That aired on Thursday. So today I'm putting on my SmackDown audio review, which should already be up by this point, by the time you listen to this, and this one as well. So that's why this is going up on Saturday. I don't know if this is going to be a regular thing. It probably won't. Usually I put my Talking Smack review up on Sunday morning. So just a quick note on that. This episode was hosted by Matt Camp and Sam Roberts. So they once again switched out the host. Last week it was Matt Camp and Scott Stanford. This week it was Matt Camp as the lead host and Sam Roberts as the analyst. They ran down the biggest headlines from the show that saw Roman Reigns beat Montez Ford in the night's main event before the Demon came calling afterward. Zelina Vega beating Liv Morgan in one-on-one action. The Happy Corbin Happy Talk debut, talk show segment, whatever, and everything else. They talk about Liv Morgan and Zelina Vega and how that was more about Carmella playing mind games and costing Morgan a victory before they go one-on-one at the pay-per-view tomorrow night. And speaking of Extreme Rules, it's not going to be an Extreme Rules match, because why the fuck would it be? It's an Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Why would we have an Extreme Rules match beyond the one that we have in the main event between Roman Reigns and Finn Balor? But anyway, they mentioned this on SmackDown too, Extreme Rules will only be Liv Morgan's second ever singles match on a pay-per-view. The only other one that comes to mind was when she faced Natalya at WrestleMania last year on the pre-show, on the kickoff show. I think for night one. Pretty sure it was either night one or night two. I don't remember, but that is the only other singles match I can remember her having. I know she was in the Money in the Bank ladder match this year for the women. That wasn't a singles match, obviously. And then before that, she was always with the Riot Squad, so that's probably the only one. And even that wasn't advertised. So this is like... And this is probably going to be in the main card. So if that's what they're talking about, unless there's another match from this year that I'm just not remembering, this will be her first main card pay-per-view match in her career, which is cool. And I was never the biggest Liv Morgan fan, but she's grown on me. She's obviously grown in the ring. She's gotten a lot better. She's really shown a lot of improvement on her own. I don't know if the Riot Squad was holding her back or what the deal was, but she's been a lot better in the last year and a half or so. So I'm looking forward to that match on Sunday. We hear from Liv Morgan real quick backstage at SmackDown with Kayla Braxton. Liv Morgan just looks into the camera, cuts off Kayla, and says, "Listen, Carmella, I'm going to make Extreme Rules the worst night of your life." And that was it. Short, sweet, straight to the point. You love to see it. Matt Camp and Sam Roberts back in the studio recap Shinsuke Nakamura versus Apollo Crews from earlier in the evening on SmackDown. That saw Nakamura emerge victorious and retain the Intercontinental Championship. They praised the match, one of their best to date. They always work well together, obviously. They praise the Nakamura-Rick Boogs pairing and say that, hey, come next week in the draft, they might be split up, which is totally something that WWE would do. Putting Pat McAfee or fucking Boogs on Raw by himself, I would not be shocked. And Sam Roberts questions how that's going to affect Pat McAfee, because he's a SmackDown commentator. What if Nakamura and Boogs go to Raw? And they make the comment that McAfee will follow Boogs wherever he goes, which... I don't know if he's too far off on that. I don't think so. I think there is a chance we could see Nakamura with Boogs, obviously, go to Raw while Damian Priest takes the United States Championship to SmackDown. I wouldn't mind that. I would not mind that at all. But we'll find out next Friday, night one of the WWE Draft, which obviously I will be breaking down here next week on the channel in my SmackDown audio review. Matt Camp and Sam Roberts break down the Mysterio storyline, which they've talked about ad nauseum here on Talking Smack for like a fucking month now. It's the same thing week after week. Oh, Dominic loses to Sammy. I mean, they had some progression in the show this week with Sammy kind of showing some love for Dominic after Sammy praised him. I don't know if it was on Talking Smack or if it was in a WWE exclusive video last week. I think it was in a WWE.com exclusive video. But Sammy showed some love for Dominic, saying that he's gotten better every time that he's been in the ring with Sami Zayn. So they kind of played that up, and Matt Camp says that maybe Dominic should listen to Sami Zayn. And we hear from Rey Mysterio. This is probably the longest Rey Mysterio promo I've heard in a while. But he said that he's just simply trying to guide Dominic. He doesn't know if he's doing a good job or a bad job as a father / a coach. Maybe someone should speak up, he says, and tell him that he's doing terribly. But he says that Dominic's growth as a performer over the last year has been amazing, And he just wants him to be good, and that's why he's tough on him. He wants Dominic to be a perfectionist like he is, like Ray is. And it's natural for family members to bump heads and whatnot, but you got to come out of it stronger. You got to come out of it better. And he hopes this is only a phase between he and him as far as their recent tension goes. And he wants to be the better man and apologize and ensure they can move forward together, which I think is not going to happen. And they're just going to split apart and they're going to have a feud, which is cool. But again, who do you turn heel? If there even is a heel, I don't know. Dominic as a heel to me just doesn't seem natural. I don't think Ray could be a great heel either, so we'll see where they go with it. Camp and Roberts recap the attack from Happy Corbin and Riddick Moss on Kevin Owens on Happy Talk. Okay, I mean, it furthered the feud. Riddick Moss being back, who gives a shit? They also recapped Roman Reigns versus Montez Ford in the night's main event, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought that was a very good match. And then Matt Camp and Roberts talk about how dangerous the Demon is and how you never bet against Roman Reigns in big match situations on pay-per-view for the Universal Championship. But at the same time, though, you know, the Demon is the Demon for a reason. And he can be dangerous, and we saw that on SmackDown. And how much more dangerous is he going to be with a kendo stick in his hand, for example? Well, we'll find out on Sunday. And Camp brings up how Sunday is actually going to mark 390 days for Roman Reigns as the Universal Champion, which is wild. Unless he loses, it's going to be 390 days today. It'll be 391 tomorrow by the pay-per-view. If he loses, it ends there. But if he wins, he's probably making it to 400 going into the Brock Lesnar match at Crown Jewel in October. So remember that. They run down the Extreme Rules card for tomorrow night, which has potential on paper. They advertise 6 matches, which honestly is all they fucking need. They don't need more than 6 matches. I mean, even Liv Morgan and Carmella is kind of pointless, but hey, at least they're getting a match on the show, you know. Anyway, Bianca Belair, we hear from her real quickly before they go off the air here. She says that she's feeling great going into Sunday, obviously getting the better of Becky Lynch on SmackDown this week, and she stands by everything she said in that opening segment, and she looks forward to proving Becky Lynch wrong on Sunday, not only by becoming a SmackDown Women's Champion again, but by the match exceeding 26 seconds, which it did not at SummerSlam last month. And they talk about that one last time, do Roberts and Camp, and Roberts says that Sunday is the ultimate test for Bianca Belair to ensure that her reign wasn't just a moment, and she's more of a champion than, you know, Becky is making her out to be. But at any rate, this was a solid edition of Talking Smack. Really nothing to go out of your way to watch here. More of the same. Bianca's on the show almost every week. Liv Morgan, short, sweet, straight to the point. And Ray's promo was the longest they've probably ever heard from him, but even he kind of said a lot of the same stuff, although he did do well with what he had to say and talk about. So, decent stuff here for the September 25th, 2021 edition of Talking Smack. We'll be back here next weekend with another Talking Smack review, but until then, though, like I said earlier, we got the SmackDown audio review from last night. That went up earlier, so check that out. A Marvel What If review for Season 1, Episode 7 went up yesterday. My Davey Richards interview also went up live here on the channel on Friday afternoon. And then tomorrow is my Dark Side of the Ring review, breaking down the life and unfortunate death of Chris Kanyon. Very good episode, depressing stuff, but we'll talk about that here tomorrow on the channel, in addition to Broken Skull Sessions with Seth Rollins and Steve Austin, of course, on Monday. So a lot to look forward to, guys. If you haven't already, hit that bell button to be notified every time a new video goes up. If you are subscribed, and if you're not, what the fuck are you waiting for? Do it right now. Have an awesome one, guys. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.